Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Higurashi One Day Cry, Chapter 6, Tsumihoroboshi. So this is going to be the last episode for this chapter. We finished the chapter itself last time and it was a happy ending. It was a fun and happy ending last time, right? No one died basically and it ended. So let's see the tips first and then the staff room because I guess that is the main like after the story content, right? Then let's check the what do you call it? The bad endings, right? Because those are I guess non-canons and then afterwards I'll just give my thoughts about the chapter. So let's check this out. Extra view tips. This one first. What's the name again? This one, the demon script, right? It was only one, the demon script. So the car began to rattle as the road turned from asphalt to gravel. The cry of the cicadas sipped through the tightly shut windows. Most people would open their car windows and let natural air in along with the sound of the cicadas. But people are also spoiled. He'd rather keep himself cool with the air conditioning, turn to Max than listen to the sounds of nature. What is this, Uishi? Usually it was a rainy season at this time of year, but this June, the summer had already come without any rain. Just like how the weather was on that day 20 years ago.
ここはやっぱり
Oh!
空気のいいところだよな。
Akasaka! Okay.
風光明媚ないい土地です。ひょっとしたら隣の村みたいに世界文化遺産に指定されることもあったかもしれないのに、惜しいですね。
Did we get Akasaka back?
そのおかげで観光客がいない。実に快適じゃないか。どうして旅行者ってのは田舎じゃ交通法規を忘れられるんだ。道路いっぱいに横になりやがって。
赤坂先輩はアウトドア今も？
最近はさっぱりだな。何しろ暇のない家業だからな。
それはお互い様です。
Akasaka is
おー、いたいた。早いな。
Akasaka is big time now. I was gonna say. The other man noticed and waved his hand before anyone in the car could honk the horn. The man was a young fellow on a motorcycle with a big backpack on his shoulders. He looked like he was ready to go camping. Akasaka and his partner stepped out of the car and shook hands with the young man.
小隊長殿、ご無沙汰いたしております。
おう、今のとこはどうだ？元気にやってるか？今日は楽にしてくれていいぞ。こちらは俺が大学時代に大変お世話になった赤坂先輩だ。
どうも、赤坂です。今日はもう一人、大石という者とご一緒するお約束でしたが、直前に検査入院が入ってしまいまして、同行できませんでした。この度はお世話になりますが、よろしく。
よろしくお願いします。
Okay, so no Oishi, I guess.
さて、赤坂先輩、どこから回りますか？
His name was Mamoru Akasaka. He was a veteran detective from the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department. Despite the fact that he was close to his retirement, he hadn't lost his clear instinct and sharp eyes at all. Oh, close to his retirement. Okay, so they did say 20 years when we started this, right? So, I guess. So this is like 2004, 2003? Those eyes showed the confidence he'd built through many risky experiences, and he had a well-built muscular body and a fearless aura. He must have fought against many violent criminals. His connection to Hinamizawa went back almost 30 years, all the way to 1978. He was in the Public Safety Division in the Metropolitan Police Department. He came to Hinamizawa to investigate the kidnapping case of the grandson of Inokai, the then Minister of Construction. There he met Uishi and Rika Furude. Rika Furude predicted her own death. Akasaka regretted for the rest of his life that he couldn't save that little girl from her fate. He saw the news of the Great Hinamizawa disaster and on the TV and met up again with Uishi. They pledged to uncover the mystery of both cruel fate that fell upon the little girl and the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa. Unfortunately, Hinamizawa was sealed off for a long time. As a result, all Akasaka and Uishi could do for the past 20 years was publish a little information they gathered and ask for the readers to send their tips and clues. But recently the seal on Hinamizawa had finally been lifted. However, they couldn't come to Hinamizawa until today due to Akasaka's busy work schedule and Uishi's poor health. Wait, what? In fact, Uishi was supposed to come with Akasaka, but he was called in for an emergency health checkup. Okay. The other two who came along were Akasaka's junior from university. One worked at the ground SDF and the other one was his subordinate. They were assigned the mission of sealing Hinamizawa off, so they were quite knowledgeable about the village. Akasaka took a scrapbook from his bag. The corners of the scrapbooks were all dented, making it look very old. Akasaka flipped through the pages, thought for a second and let them know his first destination.
では、鬼ヶ淵沼をお願いします。
Dude, what happened? Did it still happen though? That thing that happened in the third chapter? That everyone died?
了解いたしました。それではご案内いたします。
The young man got on his bike and waited for the others to get back to their car. They honked at each other to signal that they were ready, and the young man led the car to the swamp. Heading through the forest, they came to an open area where the ground was covered by concrete. There wasn't even a single drop of water in sight. All of the water of the swamp had been replaced by concrete. That was what Onigafuchi Swamp looked like now.
沼どころか水たまりもないな。
大災害後のだいぶ初期に埋め立てられたと聞いています。自分がここへ着任した時はすでに埋め立てられていました。
ちょっと降りてみよう。
Akasaka got out of the car and then walked to the center of the concrete-filled swamp. It wasn't a parking lot or a heliport. It was just a huge empty concrete space right in the middle of the forest.
なるほど。これがネットでよく言う UFO の着陸場というやつか。
Landing spot for the UFOs?
そんなことを言われてるんですか？
ここの写真がよくミステリー系のサイトに紹介されてるよ。ここで政府と宇宙人が交流してたって言うんだ。確かにこんな森の中にポカンとこんなコンクリートの空き地があれば不審に思うよな。
Okay, so aliens again? Volcanic gas erupted from the swamp in June 1983, so it did happen still. Then how many died then? The deadly mixture of hydrogen, sulfide, and carbon dioxide engulfed and destroyed Hinamizawa in a single night. The village was sealed off and the SDF covered the swamp with concrete.
ネットで騒いでる連中にも連中なりの根拠があるらしい。地質学的に言ってガスの発生源を塞ぐために沼をコンクリートで固めるなんてのは何の意味もないかららしいんだ。
なるほど。確かに活火山の火口をコンクリートで埋めたという話は聞かないですね。でもまあ税金での無駄な工事は我が国の伝統ですから。
True though, if that would work, right? Just pouring concrete on the volcano, on the open one, the crater. Everyone would have done it, but yeah, that's not real though. Lately, people who love things like supernatural phenomena and UFOs write on the internet about the Great Hinamizawa disaster. It's well known by now that the cause of the disaster was an eruption of deadly volcanic gas from a magma chamber. in 1986, a similar natural disaster occurred at Lake Nyos in Cameroon, Africa, so people easily believed that such a rare natural disaster could occur anywhere on Earth, and that was what happened in Hinamizawa as well. However, a rumor about another possible explanation had begun to fly around on the internet recently. They say the disaster was a cover-up by the government and that it was actually a biochemical terrorist attack by aliens. Why had such a rumor began to spread now? They claim to back up their theory with a secret document known as File Number 34. Someone online named it File Number 34 for descriptive purposes, but the name spread and stuck since then because it sounded like a government conspiracy. People loved it. It's unknown how or from where they obtained those documents, but they posted scans and pictures which were all ridiculous. Plus, more fake evidence was produced over time, so now even the existence of such documents are in doubt. Is this one of Takano's scrapbooks? File number 34 deserves a bit more explanation. However, since it started on the internet, truths and lies were all mixed together and it has become more like an urban legend. So this is what is believed to be mostly true. File number 34 was a notebook written by a nurse named Miyo Takano who worked at a local clinic in Hinamizawa. File number 34 was most likely named after her. Why? This woman was a researcher who studied the demon myth of Hinamizawa and tried to solve what it meant. The contents of this notebook state that she prophesied the Great Hinamizawa disaster of 1983. According to her research, a UFO crash landed in Hinamizawa a long time ago and sunk into Onigafuchi swamp. The UFO carried parasitic bacteria from space and they began to infect the locals. The infected villagers began to behave extremely violent, so much that they were fit for the word demon. So I think this is the same scrapbook that Rena had. Someone uploaded it, I suppose. Miyo Takano insisted that this was the explanation for the myth about the demons pouring out of the swamp. An alien who survived the crash realized that the Earth things had gone crazy because of the bacteria he brought in, and he decided to show himself to the villagers to help them out. This is how Oyashiro-sama was born. The alien was able to cure the villagers with highly advanced technology, but couldn't eradicate the bacteria completely. Since the villagers looked up to the alien as some sort of deity, the alien utilized its status to hand down specific rules to the villagers in order to stabilize the disease. The bacteria took a liking to Hinamizawa's habitat, so when a carrier of the disease left Hinamizawa, their symptoms would re-emerge. Therefore, the alien made it a rule not to leave the village. This leads to the legend of the transcendence of Onigafuchi. The weird practices and miracles that the villagers performed were realized by means of the advanced technology that they received from the alien.
そういうののマニアな人たちはつくづくそういうのが好きですよね。ノストラダムスの大予言だって99年にはあんなに騒いだのに、7月が過ぎたら何事もなかったかのようにみんな過ごしてる。民放もあれだけ煽っておいて無責任たらありゃしない。
Dude, also in 2012 though, right? They're gonna say the world is gonna end in 2012. They even made a movie as well, right? Nothing happened.
でも高野美代は南沢大災害を予見したらしい。それは嘘じゃない。確かにこのスクラップ帳に書いてある。
そんなまさか。赤坂先輩、それ本当に？
As time passed, the bacteria stabilized in human bodies and became harmless. The alien and the bacteria began to fade away from people's minds. However, the alien has lived on for hundreds of years with the protection of the three families. It still lives on as the spirit of a deity in the secret temple of the Furude Shrine. The alien manipulated the bacteria living inside of the villagers and maintained control over them for hundreds of years. The alien wanted to regain its power and started researching how to bring back the lost powers of the bacteria, etc., etc. Things get much stranger from there. So people say that a disaster was actually part of the alien's plan to conquer the entire Earth by spreading the reawakened bacteria. The Japanese government has a secret division that fights against alien invasions, and they trained at Area 51 in the US, etc., etc. And they moved in to stop the invasion by sealing off the entire village, and they killed all of the residents by using toxic gas.
映画でそんなのありましたね。なんて言ったっけな。
Wait, what? What is Men in Black? I don't know.
この辺まで来ると俺もそろそろめちゃくちゃだなとは思う。ただこのめちゃくちゃを書いた高野美代は昭和58年の6月中旬正体不明の開始を遂げる。
Honestly, I want that explanation. Takano Miya-san's death. But yeah, Kuma-chan said that it was just wrong, right? So maybe she actually died normally. She got burned to death. It really did happen. I mean, maybe, right? Okay.
そしてその死の直前に自らの死を悟ったかのように村の一人の少女にこのスクラップ帳を預けて意志を託したというんだ。
That girl is known as Girl A. What? Oh, okay, yes, Rena. Girl A is Rena then. Some guy who investigated the case was able to track it down to a girl named Reina Ryugu, so now it's known as the Reina Ryugu theory on the internet. Reina Ryugu inherited Miya Takano's will by means of the scrapbooks. She tried to fight against a planned invasion by holding a school hostage and demanding the local police uncover the aliens' plot. Of course, no one believed her, and they assumed she was in a state of paranoia. Back then, the people assumed that Reina Ryugu took Miya Takano's delusion seriously and was motivated to commit a poorly executed crime. When she held a school hostage, Reina Ryugu told the local police that the alien was controlling the 3 families and that it was plotting bioterrorism on a massive scale. And the very next day, the Great Hinamizawa disaster occurred. So they had peace. Keiichi and his friends were happy for not even a full day, I suppose. And this happened. Oh my god. Keiichi did say, peace only lasts for a while and then something happens bad at the end, right?
まさかそりゃ偶然じゃないんですか。
わからない。偶然ではないと思う連中に言わせるとその後の自衛隊による封鎖はおかしなことだらけだし、例えばこの沼の埋め立てが一例だ。そして埋め立てる前に明らかに通常の地質調査とは異なる秘密の調査を行っていたとされていて、当時ここの封鎖に関わっていた自衛隊員たちがそれを何人も証言している。否定派はそれを単にガスの発生地なので危険に備えて立ち入りを制限していただけだと主張するんだがね。
それは多分否定派の言うのが正しいんじゃないかと思いますね。
他にも異常に長かった封鎖期間も疑惑の目が向けられている。近年に起こった離島の火山ガス災害の例を見ても分かるように 4、5年で立ち入り禁止を解いている。南沢のケースは例外中の例外のケースのはずなのに封鎖は極めて長期に及んだ。
あのケースは島民が帰島を強く希望したからと聞いています。南沢には帰る人がそもそもいないんだから十分安全が確認できるまでたっぷり期間を置いただけなのでは。
あとこんな話もあるぞ。南沢を封鎖していた自衛隊員たちは定期的に血を抜かれての厳密な検査を受けていたといい、何らかの結果によって自他ともに理解できない理由で 任務を解かれることがあったという。それは実は細菌感染の陽性反応を見るもので、自衛隊員たちをとどまらせることによる何らかの人体実験だったとささやかれているらしい。
それはやはりガスが湧き出す危険性があっただけに、健康管理には気を使ったということでしょう。それに普通のサラリーマンだって年に一度は健康診断を受け、その時に血を抜かれてるはずです。
まあ君の言うことももっともだと思う。あともっと面白い話もあるぞ。稲南沢大災害時に火山ガスは発生していないと主張する連中がいる。
火山ガスは発生していない？どういう意味ですか？
つまりもともと火山ガスなんか噴出してなくて、ガス災害というのが政府の嘘であると主張しているらしい。ほら、洋画の人類と UFO がコンタクトする作品でも同じ設定だったじゃないか。
Spielberg movie. What movie was that?
それこそミステリーマニアのこじつけだと思いますね。で、その連中は何を根拠に火山ガスが発生しなかったと言っているんです？
封鎖解除後、ミステリーマニアがどっと押し寄せて UFO 説を補強するためにいろいろ調べたらしい。で、連中の主張はこうだ。政府発表の火山ガス成分によるならば、硫化水素によって金属が腐食されたり、自然体系に大きなダメージが残るはずだ。にもかかわらず、稲南沢にはそういう痕跡が残っておらず、よって火山ガスが噴出したとは到底思えないとかなんとか言ってる。もっともあれから20年も放置された村なんだ。そんな痕跡を発見できたかどうかは疑わしいな。
Dude, what is the movie again? Where's that? What movie was that?
やはりつくづくインターネットというのは信用できませんね。で、まさか赤坂先輩はその怪しげな話を信じてるわけですか？
最初は信じなかったが、最近は俺もわからない。何割かは真実が含まれているかもしれないと思うようになっている。
赤坂先輩ともあろうお方が UFO 話を信じるんですか？
このスクラップ帳、これが本物の34号文書だとしたら、昭和58年6月25日に日南沢営林署に人質を取って籠城した竜宮玲奈が所持していた正真正銘本物の34号文書だ。日南沢大災害の混乱で長いこと行方不明だったが、近年大石さんの古い友人が県警の保存庫で発見したらしい。
Back then, Uishi thought Rain and Ryugi was delusional, but after reading this again, after the Great Hinamizawa disaster, some of the contents seem to hold vital clues. It's not the alien part that he was interested in, but her theory that an endemic disease of parasitic microbes in Hinamizawa was responsible for the curse of Ayashiro-sama. But yeah, I actually think that this is the real one though here. Not technically this one, but close to it, I suppose, right? Because yeah, people get crazy. So when our story happens, yeah, our protagonist, our characters goes crazy. It may be Rena, it may be Keiichi, it may be Shion, right? But yeah, something happens to them. Of course, there's no proof that such microbes existed, so it still remains at a theoretical level.
大石さんの仮説なんだが、御三家が過去の信仰心を村に取り戻すために大昔の毒性の強い病原体を研究していたのは本当じゃないかっていうんだ。日南沢大災害は実はその結果の失敗じゃないかってな。
This story is also based on theories and myths he found on the internet. The village clinic chief doctor died mysteriously right before the great Hinamizawa disaster. So Irie is the doctor, right? So he died again before the disaster. In Tatari Goroshi, he died as well, right? When Keiichi went back there, Irie died. I don't remember how he died. A girl, Rika Furude, was brutally murdered on the night Reina Ryugu took the school hostage. So Rika died. I mean, she did say she was gonna die, right? There could have been an underground research lab beneath the village clinic, and Dr. Irie could have been forced to do microbiological research, but he couldn't live with his own sins and committed suicide. Was it suicide back then as well? I don't remember. Rika Furude could have been brutally murdered in a sacrifice for some sort of ritual ceremony in the name of Oyashiro-sama's revival. However, their experiment went wrong, so Rika died, brutally murdered. On the third chapter, Satoko and Keiichi found Rika, right, on the Furude shrine, basically, right? And she was, what do you call that again? Her guts were out, right? So she died like that. Instead of the microbes being parasitic in the villagers, they became a killer virus. And they exterminated the entire village in one night.
ただのガス災害じゃないことは明白なんだ。ガスが湧く直前に一人の少女が細菌テロを予告し、数人の村人が開始を遂げている。それをスクラップ帳にまとめた高野美代本人も含めてね。あれを偶然の予見不可能な災害だとするにはどうも腑に落ちない要素が少なくない。
じゃあひなみ沢大災害は自然災害ではなく細菌テロ。
In the modern era, everyone in Japan knows about the shocking incident where a doomsday cult created a nerve gas, sarin, and unleashed it for the purposes of mass murder. But in the 80s, the single idea of a single cult being able to carry out such an act of terrorism didn't even cross our minds.
その後の自衛隊の長い封鎖は、その殺人ウイルスを調査するためではないかと囁かれているんだが、すっきりしないな。
UFO に乗った宇宙人がって話よりはカルト集団がって方が近年は信憑性がありますからね。
本当に UFO が墜落した可能性もあるかもしれないな。竜宮レイナが人質籠城時に出した要求の筆頭は、鬼ヶ淵沼の底には墜落した UFO の残骸があるから引き上げろというものだったらしい。
バカバカしい。
それがバカバカしいか調べたくても、見ろ。沼はコンクリートで数メートルの厚さで固められ、確かめる術もない。地質学的にはガスを防ぐ効果は何も期待できないはずのバカバカしい工事によってだ。
赤坂先輩がそれを立証するには、あとはここの住民の生き残りを見つけて、体内からその特殊な病原体ってやつを見つけ出すほかないんじゃないですか。
それも致命的だ。ひなみ沢大災害後のひなみ沢出身者に対する魔女狩りのせいで、今や出身者の存在は不明だ。彼らは名乗りなどあげまい。
Right after the disaster, some people who were from Hinamizawa started displaying erratic behavior. When they started dying mysteriously and committing suicide in strange ways, people got scared of them and chased them out of their neighborhood. The government was practically useless in protecting their privacy at the time, so the former residents of Hinamizawa lied about where they were from and have kept it that way since.
じゃあお手上げじゃないですか。
それでも諦めないのが刑事魂ってもんだよ。あれが自然災害じゃなかったっていう状況証拠はいくらでもあるんだ。何か一つの具体的証拠が見つかれば、芋づる式に全てを白日のもとにさらせるかもしれない。
まあ あれから20年経過してますからね。真相はあまりに遠い闇の中かもしれません。
そうだな。21世紀の今頃になってここを訪れても何も分かりはしないのかもな。
What happened in Hinamizawa in June 1983? The only factual evidence that I had was that Mio Takano mysteriously died and left her scrapbook predicting a bioterrorist attack. A young girl took a school hostage to make people listen to this prediction, but no one took it seriously. The chief doctor of the village clinic committed suicide. People believed that that little girl, Rika Furude, was a reincarnation of a Yashiro-sama and she was brutally murdered. So for I would say Irie, I think back then they mentioned like sleeping pills. I think maybe he overdosed, so maybe they think he committed suicide. I think that was on the 3rd chapter, right? He died as well there, and then Rika died. Pretty much, yeah, the same deaths as in the 3rd chapter. And this happens like I guess afterwards, the Great Hinamizawa disaster. What was the truth behind this scrapbook? Was it written to reveal a huge conspiracy? Or was it just a bunch of delusions written by an occult maniac? If the contents of the scrapbooks were true, the disaster could have been avoided if we had heeded the warnings of one girl. Then no one would listen to a girl saying that aliens are coming for them. Come on. Like even you, Akasaka, if you are there at that time, no one is gonna believe you. Or no one, you are not gonna believe Rena, I mean. If they weren't true, then who created the disaster to follow the scenario of the scrapbook? After the sarin nerve gas incident, the words mind control came into the spotlight. In contrast to the brainwashing, which can easily force a person to commit certain acts in the short term, mind control takes a long time to gradually make a person believe that what he or she must do is the right thing to do, and act upon it as if it were his or her own idea. It is a form of character alteration, which is far more serious than brainwashing. The cult behind the sarin gas incident induced fear and anxiety into its members, though its revelations of doomsday. At the same time, they ordered them to do certain things as a means of salvation and had them do so voluntarily. The formula was quite similar to how Reina Ryugu became a puppet of file number 34. So does that mean Reina Ryugu was mind controlled by someone? Does it mean that the cult that mind controlled her tried to cause the end of the world in order to increase credibility of their teachings, just like the other cults did? Would that make file number 34 some sort of religious textbook for them? When I lose my grip on what's true and what's not, it sometimes makes me feel that someone might be laughing in amusement at this disaster. This scrapbook was like a script. It was a script for a tragedy that takes the lives of thousands of villagers in one night. It was a script for demons who laugh at the loss of human life. Someone wrote the script. Someone performed it. Someone watched the show and laughed. Damn it. What the hell happened in Namizawa? Okay. Dude, that was a long tip though. 30 minutes. But that was actually a legit epilogue though. Let's talk about it later. Let's check out the other things first, right? Staff room. I did enjoy this. This is, I think, the best. I think this is the best chapter so far. I mean, in the answer arcs, I think this is the best chapter in the answer arc so far. I love the 5th chapter, but this one just takes it. There are several themes I wanted to write in this chapter, but I'd like to talk about one of them here. It's about the denial of murder. This is something I had to write sooner or later since it's a novel about serial murders. There are two means that the youngsters in particular use these days to solve problems, which are murder and suicide. When we feel stress, we choose to either get rid of the source of the stress or to get away from it. Let's say you're bullied by a kid in school. You have two ways to solve the problem. You choose either to get rid of the kid from your current environment or to get away from the environment itself. Usually bullies are stronger and have their underlings, so you don't stand a chance alone to get rid of them. It's also not easy to switch classes or to quit school, so you can't easily get away from that situation. As a result, the situation gets worse day by day and your stress urges you to solve the problem immediately. And you come up with a murder or suicide as easy solutions. If suicide is considered defeat, you'd want to consider murder. I feel like there are many people who think that way. I mean, sadly, yes. However, if you actually committed the murder, it wouldn't be easy to pay for the sin. I believe murderers know that well. But you really hate the bully who pushed you to the limit where you have no choice but to kill him. So with a determination that turns your entire life upside down, you commit murder. But if you have a strong determination, there have to be more ways to take that than opting to murder, which should be the last resort. You can talk to your friends. If that doesn't work, you can talk to your family. If that doesn't work, you can talk to your teacher. If that doesn't work, then what? There have to be more ways. Try to find more ways. If you have determination, or that determination to give up on your life by committing murder, there have to be more ways. Our modern era is better than any era before it. There are many hotlines that you can call to talk to someone. If you don't have any friends or family, there are many places you can go for help. The people who will answer the phone aren't amateurs. They're volunteers but are also veterans who have worked as social workers or juvenile counselors for a long time. So I can assure you that they have more social experience and passion than your parents do. People who work to help people for free can't be bad people. If you feel like you have no choice but to kill the bully or commit suicide, please try to call those hotlines. Yes. People who think it's useless to talk to others usually haven't really talked to anyone. Have the courage to call. There will be somebody you can completely rely on at the other end of the line. Don't keep it to yourself. Talk to somebody. Ryukishi07 wrote such a long story just to tell you this. He must be a very poor writer. So Ryukishi07 wants to talk to you all rather than worrying all by himself. How can I write even more entertaining stories? So for the staff room here, he's basically saying that, yeah, like, find more ways, basically. Don't resort to that. And talk to someone. You can talk to your parents, your friends, your teachers. There's a lot of hotlines you can call. So let's check this, what do you call this? Bad ends, I suppose, right? See, we have two bad ends here. Okay, check this one first. The first one. We chose this one, right? So yeah, I guess. The Rika-chan who would whisper that.
ちょっと俺、ミオンのところに行ってくる。
After taking my leave from them, I left the classroom and headed to the faculty office where Mion had gone to make a phone call. It sounded like I could do anything even if I stayed by her. I just hated staying still, doing nothing but wallowing in anxiety. Kasai.
若いのを2人ほど診療所に送ります。
まさかとは思うけどね。
Like, look at this. Even Mion is like, she's not gonna do it. But then she did it.
何をやらかすか分かったもんじゃない。
姿を見たら直ちに引っ捕らえてしまって構いませんか。
本当は嫌なんだけどな。どうしようね。
先日の会合で 竜宮レナを確保して警察に引き渡すことで決着しています。ですのでひっ捕らえても一応筋は通ります。
うちの対面じゃなくてレナの心情的に気の毒だなってこと。できたら本当に静かに決着したいんだけどね。
まあお若いですから。人さえ殺さなければ大抵はごめんなさいで済みますよ。
じゃあアウトかもだ。
いえいえ、見つからなければセーフですから。セーフ。沖宮の界隈ではあの二人の失踪を気にする者はいません。何かのヤバい話を踏んで夜逃げしたんだろうということになっています。あの程度のゴロつき、次から次へです。ですからセーフ。
アウトだのセーフだの、私ら野球拳でもやってるわけ？まあいいや。それじゃあくれぐれもよろしくお願いします。
了解しました。ではひっ捕らえてよろしいんですね。
ちゃんとタッチアウトにするんだよ。クロスプレーなんかにしないようによろしく頼みます。
I couldn't help but have a silly chat with Kasai-san. When I put the phone down, I sensed Chie-sensei was looking at me. No wonder, as she had been able to hear the conversation clearly in this tiny room. Chie-sensei put her spoon down. The spoon is right here. And with a sad look on her face, she asked the following.
今の電話は竜宮さんをめぐる話ですか？まあ、はい。園崎さん、竜宮さんはどうして家出をしちゃったんでしょう？お友達として何か知ってはいませんか？
It was hard for anyone to understand Rena's situation except for me and Kei-chan. So most of them thought that Rena just ran away from home. But after she did, the cops made too much of a fuss over it. Uichi stupidly believed that the scrapbooks were a big scoop and he overreacted in trying to find Rena. He had patrol cars running around everywhere in the village. He even used the town council's phone directory to find her. So people in the village thought Rena did something wrong and was trying to run from the cops. What was going to be difficult for me, more than finding her, was to make up a story to retrieve Rena's honor after they detained her. What about this? Rena went for a walk, fell down, hit her head on the edge of some tofu, and lost her memory. Uishi misunderstood something big time, and he thought she was a criminal. It was so easy. Anyway, we did make it clear that Uishi was the one who misunderstood everything at the end of the other day. I had to make the best use of his name while he was feeling down for once. What I had to do was to not make a big deal about the situation, and to create an environment that allowed Rena to forget everything that happened in order to get her life back together as soon as possible.
大丈夫ですよ先生。レナは今ちょっと病気になってるだけです。それを警察の某ベテラン刑事が素敵に勘違いして話をややこしくしただけです。まさか先生、レナが悪いことをして逃走中なんて信じちゃいないですよね。それはもちろんですけど、でも家出することによってご家族におかけしている迷惑を考えれば悪くないということはありません。
She had the fight with her father and she ran away from home for a little while. She acted childish and that's all. Maybe that'd be the best story to go with.
何か悩みがあったのでしょうか。それに気づけなかった私は教師失格ですね。一度竜宮さんとじっくりお話がしたかったです。先生、ちょっとヘビーに考えすぎです。もうちょっとリラックスリラックス。プチ家出なんて今時珍しくないですって。はあ、竜宮さんがこのまま不良になってしまって悪いことを始めたらどうしましょう。
Ryugu-san becomes a bad kid. She does something bad and gets arrested by the police. It's her teacher's responsibility. I'll be dishonorably discharged, and then the curry. I can't eat curry anymore. So yeah, pretty much the same as the other one though. I'm dead. Chie-sensei seemed comically upset by her own imagination. I look funny, so I decided to leave her alone. I made to leave the teacher's office to go back to the classroom, but right then the phone rang.
はい、もしもし。ひなみ沢文庫でございます。
Chie-sensei had to answer the phone all day because the principal was on a business trip. I exited to the hallway. Then I heard the tone of her voice change.
今どこにいるんですか?
What? I yelled and looked back at her. It was probably Rena. She called the school. I tried to go back inside the teacher's office, but Chie-sensei gestured at me not to come in. Chie-sensei acknowledged what Rena was saying several times, and then she looked up at the clock.
わかりました。今からすぐ行きます。先生との約束ですよ。
She said only that, put the phone down, and got her purse out of her locker.
委員長。
Last president.
先生は休養ができました。しばらく表へ出ますので、みんなを自習させてください。
She took her car key from her purse. It was obvious that she was going to see Rena somewhere.
先生、今の電話はレナ。以上です。
That's all.
よろしく頼みますよ、委員長。
Chie-sensei completely ignored me and she ran out into the hallway. She ran to the schoolyard and got into her car.
ケイちゃん。
どうした？シエ先生慌ててどこに行ったんだ？
レナから電話があった。
なんて？
I ran after the teacher without answering that Kei-chan followed behind me. Did this happen as well? I don't remember. She ran back to the schoolyard and got into her car. The moment her car left through the gate, I ran out to the schoolyard myself. I headed for the black car parked near the gate and knocked on the window.
お疲れ様です。今のところ異常ありません。
Gangster.
違う。今出て行った先生の車を追って。多分行く先にレナがいる。
何
Keiichi yelled in surprise, but there wasn't any time left to explain it to him now.
レナは警戒心が強いから注意してね。捕まえたら有無を言わさずに本家放り込んで葛西の指示に従うこと。私の友人だよ。怪我なんかさせたら許さないからね。
Rena must have told Chie-sensei that she wanted to talk to her alone. I could tell it easily from the way she ignored my question. I did feel a little bad for ruining their promise, but it was very important that we caught her before she did something wrong. We could still make up an excuse that she was just wandering around because she had a fight with her father and ran away from home. But if she set fire to the clinic or something, there would be nothing I could do.
ミオ、俺も行く。
ケイちゃん。
先生がレナのいる場所に向かったんなら、俺も一緒の方がいいはずだ。頼む。
そうだね、確かに。じゃあケイちゃん、早く乗って。
わかった。
Kei-chan opened the car door and swiftly climbed into the passenger seat. While we were dilly-dallying, the teacher's car was beginning to disappear from our line of sight. We could only pray we didn't lose sight of her.
よろしく頼んだよ、ケイちゃん。
ああ、任せとけ。
The car made a rough U-turn on the gravel road and it chased after Chie-sensei's car at full speed. As they tailed the shadow of the disappearing car, I could only pray for the series of misfortune to end on a quiet note. Chie-sensei's car soon came into view. It was traveling at a very fast pace, but thankfully she was the sort of person who didn't drive above the speed limit. We passed the stone steps of the fruity shrine and left the paved road partway into a coarse mountain trail. Where we were headed wasn't even to the dam construction site, where the mountains of trash lay. We were headed to an unknown location which I wasn't aware of as I was still unfamiliar with the area.
この道ってどこに続いてます？
So what happens, I guess, Rena just killed everyone because Keiichi is not there?
山の方っすね。このまま行くと谷をまたいだ隣の町へのルートになるっす。
And as if it nodded in agreement with the driver's words, the vegetation around us opened up on one side, and we saw mountains in the distance and a valley between them. I saw a stream up ahead and a suspension bridge straddling it. According to him, there was certainly an unmanned office cabin in the vicinity set up for emergency purposes. Judging by Chie-sensei's panic, had Rena threatened to jump off from there or something if she didn't come? If so, then why exactly? I mean, that's right. Just why had she called Chie-sensei out to the suspension bridge? The sudden question triggered a throbbing anxiety which spread across my chest. First of all, what did Rena even have to do with Chie-sensei? I mean, it's not like they were on bad terms or Rena was a good student, so she had a good relationship with her teacher. But it's not like she had a trusting relationship with her enough to call her and consult her on such affairs. And also, why the suspension bridge? As if it was a threat to jump off if she didn't come, the shrine had a good enough elevation for that. She didn't have to call her all the way out here. I was astonished, finally having understood what Rena's intention was.
運転手さん、千恵先生の車を止めてくれ。
え？
早く。
As we noisily rang the car horn, Chie-sensei's car came to a halt, almost close enough to hit us, and she got down looking stunned. And after recognizing me in the passenger seat of the car, behind her, she tried to yell out, but I beat her to it and cried, "We're in big trouble."
先生、俺たちレナに騙されたんだ。レナはここにはいない。
The teacher didn't understand what I was talking about and donned a confused expression. But there wasn't even any time to explain it to her, so I flew towards the phone booth near us, put a 10 yen coin in slot, and dialed the phone number to the staff room, which I vaguely recalled. Please, somebody answer. Mion, Satsuko, or Rika-chan, I don't care if somebody else either. I had to tell this to the people at school fast. So hurry up and pick up the phone. No one is answering. And then after the phone had rang around 10 times, I had almost given up. The call went through.
もしもし。すみません、俺前原です。すぐに園崎美音に繋いでください。
What?
もしもし。聞こえてるのか？もしもし。
I didn't know if it was because I was using an old phone or because the line was too far away, but I couldn't hear anything from the receiver. And then when I was about to raise my voice and yell into the phone,
何圭一くん、みーちゃんに何か用かな。かな。
Jesus, the glitchiness now. My prediction was on the mark. It was even worse than I had imagined.
レナ、そこにいるんだな。
うん、いるよ。みーちゃんたちも一緒にね。圭一くんがいないのが残念だよ。一人じゃなかなかやりづらくって。うるさく騒いだり泣いたりして頭にきたから何度か殴っちゃった。
Jesus.
なんてこと。おいレナ、いいか、ここには千恵先生もいる。だから落ち着いて俺の話を。
圭一君はそっちに行っちゃったのか。だったらお話はこっちで聞くね。早く来てね、待ってるから。
おいレナ、待て、切るな。
Those words fell on dead ears. Rena, who was on the other side, swiftly ended the conversation like it was nothing. I actually thought that Rena just exploded the skull because Keiichi was not there. Because yeah, no one was answering, right? Oh, it's similar, okay.
Kuma-chan! 遅れて申し訳ない。状況は？
ご苦労様です。本日午後1時頃、ひなみ沢営林署内のひなみ沢分校区画にて教室占拠が発生しました。犯人側の第一要求は営林署敷地内への一切の立ち入りの禁止と当方へのホットラインの確保です。
ってことは初めっから警察と交渉する気ってことですか。どういうつもりだ。
あと犯人は交渉人に大石さんを指名してます。犯人は竜宮玲奈。
竜宮さんが？わかりました。いいですよ。こうなりゃ腐れんです。とことんお付き合いさせてもらいましょう。
Uishi gave a crooked smile.
竜宮玲奈以外に犯人がいるか不明です。カーテンが閉められているので状況も一切確認できていません。
通報者に占拠時の様子は聞いてませんか？
いえ、竜宮玲奈からの直接の犯行声明でした。よって内部の状況は一切不明。担任と生徒の1名は犯行直前に竜宮玲奈の電話呼び出しを受け遠方に呼び出された間の犯行でした。
計画的ですね。営林署側の人間は人質には？
今日は営林署職員は不在でした。よって生徒24名のみ。生徒数は担任が出席簿で確認した人数です。
それプラス犯人ってわけか。竜宮玲奈以外に犯人らしき人影は？
いえ、何度かカーテンから覗く人影がありましたが、いずれも竜宮玲奈本人でした。ですが規模他を考えておそらく最低でももう1人2人はいると予想されます。
レナちゃんはとても真面目ないい子なんです。こんなことをするなんて何かの間違いに決まっています。
大丈夫ですか
Uishi ran up to Chie-sensei, who was crying with the handkerchief held up to her face. Chie-sensei was huddled over and Uishi didn't think he could say anything else to her.
大石殿、よろしくお頼みしますぞ。もしできるなら人質の交換を申し出たい。ぜひ私と子供たちを交換していただきたい。
校長先生、それは私がやります。私が悪いんです。
先生方、どうかご自分を責められないでください。先生方には校内の状況についていろいろとお聞きしたいことがありますので、ご協力をお願いいたします。ボンジ君、図面の方で話を聞いてあげてください。
失礼します。1号車の無線に高杉課長です。
はいはい、もしもし、大石です。
大石さん、ご苦労さん。状況の大体は熊谷君に聞いたよ。犯人は未成年だそうだね。マスコミ規制の方を厳重に頼むよ。
分かってます。あと、犯人側が私を交渉人に指定してきてるようですが、問題ありませんかね。
とりあえず犯人の要求なら致し方がない。頼んだよ。
おいさん、車載電話に犯人です。竜宮玲奈です。
早速ご指名の電話が来ました。早速出ることにします。ありがとう。はい、もしもし、大石です。
I clenched my teeth in frustration and rolled up my fist into a ball. An overwhelming wall of police officers blocked my way, and I felt pathetic for only being able to watch the teachers and the detectives from afar. The reason behind why Chie-sensei had been phoned and summoned out of the school for Rena, who wanted to hijack the classroom, the biggest obstacle was Chie-sensei. She was someone who had a strong sense of justice. If Rena, or even if Rena had held a pistol to her, Chie-sensei probably wouldn't have hesitated. For the welfare of her students, she would put herself in danger. Getting rid of someone like her was a primary step in order to hijack the classroom. Attacking her from behind would have been her very first line of thought, but I'm sure she decided taking on an adult directly was a risky affair. In that case, it was better to lure her away to some place. Rena had phoned Chie-sensei and then told her she wished to seek her advice in somewhere or someplace private and asked to meet her near the suspension bridge. Including Chie-sensei, a good majority of the people thought that Rena had merely run away from home. So Chie-sensei probably thought that Rena merely had some troubles she wished to discuss. Fooling her was that easy. So where did Rena make that call from? Yes, it was from within the school. Well, not exactly. It was most likely from the second floor of the school building, from the office room of the forestry service. The forestry service at our school was more like a branch office, so it wasn't like the staff were always present. Depending on the day, they might not be there. Rena had known this and had been hiding on the second floor all this time. And then she made a call to the ground floor from up there and sent Chie-sensei to a far place. It probably wasn't a coincidence that the principal had also been away on a business trip today. Rena had most likely snuck into the school yesterday itself. And then she had discerned the principal's itinerary and the workings of the internal phone line before she put her plan into action. How cunning it all was. No, I understood. Right now, even as she was possessed by a murderous rage, Rena was keeping her composure. She was unbelievably calm despite being plagued by her delusion that controlled her. And so, just thinking about it made my head spin. Because I had even personally experienced what she was doing or going through before. Also, what was even more unlucky was the absence of the Sonozaki family bodyguard, who had been standing by the gate. It was because Mion had sent him to follow Chie-sensei, who had set out to meet Rena. Everything was so screwed up on so many levels.
今ですね、県警の暴隊と公安部で一斉捜査作戦を準備中なんです。何しろ市内全域を一斉にやりますからね。調整に多少の時間が
骨師が置かれている緊急的危機についてよく理解し合っているんじゃなかったでしたっけ？何をのんびりとしたこと。大石さん、本当に私の話を信じてくれているんですよね。私の味方なんですよね。味方ですよね。答えてください。
もちろんですとも。ですが警察組織ってやつは簡単じゃないんです。私も最大限努力をしてるんですよ。本当です。ただですね、やはり話の規模があまりに大きすぎるもので。
The negotiations weren't that satisfactory, to be honest. Even as they spoke, it was clear from the overwhelming tension that Rena's patience was wearing thinner and thinner.
じゃあ、圭一君を呼んで。
は？今何とおっしゃいました？
そっちにいるんでしょ、圭一君。彼と話をするから早く呼び出して。
わかりました。
Oishi asked one of his subordinates to summon the boy who stood in front of the line of the crowd gathered at the barricade. He immediately jogged over to the car as soon as he was called.
前原圭一さんですね。
はい。
竜宮レナさんがあなたと話がしたいそうです。通話代わってもらえますか？
わかりました。
Oishi then handed over the receiver to Keiichi and then noticed something happening outside the left car.
もしもし。
圭一君、よかった。戻ってきてくれたんだね。
レナ。
警察がね、レナの言うことを信じてくれないの。レナの言ってることが本当で、レナがやろうとしてることが本気だって圭一君からも言ってくれないかな。
やろうとしてることってなんだよ。
今この教室にね、ガソリンをまいたの。だからレナの持ってるライターでちょっと火をつければ、ここにいる人質はみんな死んじゃう。それを大石さんに教えてくれないかな。
なんですかあんたたちは。
どきたまえ。
Oh, they already arrived, Otaka.
ここの責任者は誰だね。
Several cars had arrived, producing several men, and they weren't from the Okonomiya station. One of the men was wearing a suit despite the hot weather. He approached me, pushing Kumagai aside.
おや、これは。お久しぶりですね。県警本部の大高くんじゃありませんか。
言葉を慎みたまえ。もう君に君と呼ばれる階級ではない。
何かご用ですかね、大高くん。今非常に立て込んでいます。まさか県警がこの現場を乗っ取ろうつもりで？誰の了解で？
私が許可した、大石君。
所長。
高杉君から事情は聞いている。君がまいた種だという話も聞いているぞ。君はもう下がって、あとは機動隊に任せるんだ。
機動隊って。大高君、あんたまさか吸収する気ですか？
危険は重々承知だ。だがもう爆発まで時間がない。君が時間を浪費しすぎたのだ。その尻拭いを我々がしようというんだ。君らは引き継いで後方に下がりたまえ。
I couldn't talk back if both the chief and the guy from the prefectural headquarters gave me an order.
大石さん、何者っすかあいつは。
大高くん、 昔麻雀がくっそ弱いくせに生きがってたからちょいと叩き潰してやったことがありましてね。それともあれかな、剣道大会で偉そうにしてやがったから面食らわして失神させたのを根に持ってるのかな。
Obviously, we didn't get along.
大石君、現在の最新の状況を説明したまえ。
あんた本気で突入する気で？
突入は府警の専門部隊が担当する。君はバックアップに回りたまえ。
社長。
大石君、府警の専門部隊はただの機動隊じゃないぞ。第二機動隊といえば君ほどの男なら噂くらい聞いてるだろ
う。なんすか大石さん、第二機動隊って有名なんですか
？5年くらい前だっけ、空港の飛行機に犯人が立てこもった事件があったでしょう。あれをきっかけに東京と大阪にハイジャック専門の特殊部隊が組織されたって噂は聞いてましたがね。実在してましたか。
でもなんだって府警の機動隊がこんなところに。
Otaka smiled proudly.
たまたま県警機動隊との交流訓練があってね、特別に応援を要請したのだよ。
相変わらずですね。話をすぐ派手にしたがるその癖は。
The company members exited the vehicles one after another and took position. They didn't move like policemen.
大高君、あんた学校で銃撃戦をやる気かい？
安心したまえ。突入犯が使うのは火器じゃない。ボート鎮圧用のガス銃だ。高圧ガスで催涙ガスを噴出する。何の問題もない。
へえ、そりゃあ便利な水鉄砲があったもんで。ところでそのおもちゃは校庭を横断して教室まで届くほど便利なものなんで。
それは君が心配することではない。あとは我々に任せて下がりたまえ。
And then, following Otaka's orders, the special forces took position at a blind spot visible from the school window and prepared to infiltrate. Uishi wrinkled his nose at Otaka's arrogance and pretentious attitude that didn't give way for counter-arguments. Remembering that Rena and Keiichi were having a conversation, he turned on his heel, heading over to the patrol car. And there... At once, the door to the car swung open and Keiichi rushed over to him, screaming.
レナが教室内にガソリンを撒いたって。
Oh, then it's gonna explode because, yeah, they didn't get a warning.
射撃用意。
Oh!
構え。
待ってください。
No!
やめろ、撃つな。
Oh no. Boom, it's gonna explode. Everyone died. Jesus, this ending. Our bodies were promptly blown away and hit the ground, and we didn't understand what happened for a moment. Poor Mion, Rika, and Satiko, right? And I mean, I guess Tomita, Rena, Okumura, all gone. A high-pitched tinnitus violently reverberated within my skull, and an overwhelming dizziness distanced me from my consciousness. My throat and nasal passage felt irritated from the suspended dust particles and smoldered air. Spitting out the crunchy debris from my mouth, I dragged my beaten body up into a stance and faced forward, looking ahead of me. There were many police officers scattered about on the ground, groaning from the impact. A voice of agony filled the air next to me. As I faced it, it turned out to be the detective I've been talking to just now. His entire body was covered in dirt and debris, and he was bleeding from his head. As I began to sit down in concern for him, I suddenly remembered Mion and Rena's safety. Shit. They were gone. And then I turned towards the direction of the school. I couldn't believe it. What I was seeing. What stood before me was a disordered conglomerate of wood, bricks, and other disordered articles mixed in crudely, resembling an enormous camping bonfire. The flames that had risen up in between that mass burned so high they seemed to reach up into the evening twilight. Even from this faraway distance, I could perceive the heat and the scorching smell. No. This had to be a bad dream. This couldn't be our school. This wasn't even a school in the first place. I staggered over. Fumbling forward with my useless legs, I walked over to that monstrosity. And then before me, amidst the remains of the timber, I discovered a face I recognized and drew a breath before I rushed over. Mion's eyes were wide open, facing my way, with her right arm raised. Her mouth was slightly open. She probably couldn't speak. I had to get her out of here first. Thinking that, I tightly grasped that right arm. It felt light, there was no resistance. Oh my god, it's only the arm. And then from within the rubble came out. And then a small mass rolled over. It touched my feet. Mion's head had come apart from her body. Jesus, man. That's why I said that it's just annoying when, like in movies, right? Like you were doing good, you're talking with, I guess with yeah, for example, in this case, Rena, right? And then someone comes in, another one trying to be the big shot here, Otake, and he shoots. And yes, this happened. Everyone died inside the school. Okay, so we choose this one now. Then this is the other ending, I suppose. Satiko, are you still there? There's no time. There still wasn't any reply from Satiko. If we don't find out where Rena's hidden the incendiary device quickly. We managed to confine her to this space, but finding the device is what's really important. Please, Satiko, you're the only one we're counting on. Rena, who had thrown Rika-chan aside, swung around to face me as she stood up, her eyes glittering with fury. And then with an icy jeer enough to make my hair stand on their ends, she raised her hatchet above her head. Adrenaline gushing through my veins, I twisted my body to barely dodge Rena's attack as the hatchet sliced through the air. The hatchet had swung recklessly, sunk into the wooden floor with a thunderous roar, and Rena retracted it as if it were nothing and held it up once more, flashing her red tongue in mirth. Wait, that was it? That was it. What happened?
Sayonara, Keiichi-kun.
Wait, did Keiichi got hit there?
レナに謝ってもいいよ。
I wasn't supposed to be wasting my time doing this. If I don't hurry up, the explosive device Rena set up is going to. And then it was immediately after Satoko's desperate scream. It exploded. Anything and everything in the world before me disappeared into the void, including myself. It happened, the bad end. It exploded because they couldn't get it in time. The other one was very gruesome though, the other ending, right? Jesus Christ. But yeah, I guess we finished everything in Tsumihoroboshi this time. Every single we saw the tips, we saw the bad endings. I think the bad endings are okay. The other one is pretty gruesome. That first bad ending we saw there. If they actually showed us some CG, right, of Mion there, it would have been much more worse. But yeah. So 2 bad endings. I guess everyone dies. The best ending, yeah. The best ending is the original ending. The one we had last time. The fun, happy ending. For what we did Mayakashi, what was the ending again? The other one was pretty much the same, right? In Watsunagashi, the first one. And the bad ending we had, the other one was Mion and Keiichi went to the city, right? That was kind of nice, but Keiichi still died in the ending, right? So for this one, we were checking the tips earlier. I think that this upcoming 2 chapters, right? I wish, or most likely the biggest roles or the biggest characters are gonna be Rika, because Rika in this chapter pretty much confirmed to us that she's much older, right? And they better explore that much more in the next one. So I'm hoping in chapter 7, right? Let's see her story, I suppose, right? All of it. And then who else? Irie. Her and Rika dies. Whenever we have this great Hinamizawa disaster. First chapter, we don't really know how the people died there. Keiichi died and it was over, right? It was done. In Watsunagashi, Rika died by Shion, right? And Great Hinamizawa disaster didn't happen there. Third one, Tatari Goroshi, Irie and Rika died. Irie, I guess suicide. Let's just say suicide. And then for Rika she got murdered. Then Great Hinamizawa disaster. Keiichi survived that, right? Fourth one, or then we did the fourth chapter is a little bit different, right? So it's a different one. So Mayakashi, again, Rika died with Shion, right? And then who survived there at the ending? Pretty much same as Watsunagashi, yeah. So Great Hinamizawa disaster didn't happen, basically, right? And then the 6th one, or this one, no, the 6th one. Oh yeah, 6th one, this one. It was a happy ending. Irie had died off screen, I suppose, right? And then Rika had died afterwards, brutally murdered, and Great Hinamizawa disaster. And I guess everyone died, right? They didn't say who died or not, or if there are any survivors in the members, right? Or in the main characters. Pretty much just died. So I guess whenever Rika and maybe Irie, there are connections here, man, that we need to get. But let's just say at least Rika. If Rika dies like that, or she gets murdered like that, or the one who kills her, I suppose. We don't know who kills her though, that's the thing. Because when Shion kills her, nothing happens, but when she dies the other way, she gets murdered and put into the Furude Shrine. Great Hinamizawa disaster happens and everyone dies. So it's not like every story ends up in a Great Hinamizawa disaster, right? It doesn't end always like that. Sometimes it ends like that, sometimes it doesn't end like that. We need to learn more of that. Hopefully next chapter we learn more of that, right? But I can't wait. Like I think I say every time we do answer arc, the first two answer arcs we did, I can't wait to do the next one. I can't wait to do the next one. And again, I can't wait to do the next one. I want to see what happens. Like, especially Rika's past, her story. I thought chapter 4 was gonna be about Rika. I mean, it was in a sense, right? A little bit. But this one, in this chapter, it explored much more of Rika. I guess that's why in chapter 4, right, when we were doing the tips, was it? The mother's diary? Her mother was like, why can Rika do this stuff? Why can she cook? Why can she do this? She do that? I didn't teach her any of those, right? And that's because Rika has lived, I suppose, multiple times. Every time she dies, she goes back and relives all of this. And that's why she's very cold. That's why she's very different when we see her real self. Is because she's lived all of this a lot of times, seeing her friends die, all the time being killed, right? I guess she doesn't know who kills her, probably, right? Maybe. Because if she knows who kills her, she could at least prevent it, right? I don't know. Maybe not. But she do remember some stuff that happened, for example, in that one world. She does remember that. But for her killer, I suppose, maybe not for the killer itself. She doesn't remember who kills her. And she just comes back with some of the memories of the past world. This is very, very interesting. But honestly, this chapter, I loved it because the themes basically of this chapter, like friendship, right? Our friends are our main characters. Trust, basically trust. For Keiichi, for Rena, yes, the trust between characters. And I guess the forgiveness as well, right? Because the sins of them, right? All of the characters, it was really nice getting to know more of their stories. Rena, and we learn about more of Keiichi, right? And basically mostly it was Rena and Keiichi added more to their stories in this chapter, and Rika as well, right? But it's just nice, this chapter. Like, I enjoyed every second of it. It was really good. Hopefully next chapter one-ups this yet again, because every chapter, every answer arc we did just gets better and better, right? One chapter finish this, and then the next chapter is good. Very good. So yeah, did you like this one better than Miyakashi? Or did you like Miyakashi more than this one? For me, for the answer arcs, let's rank it. This one, Tsumihoroboshi number 1, at least for now, and then Miyakashi number 2 for now. The 7th chapter, I haven't checked the title, but we will have to see if it's good. If it's gonna be much more better, I mean. So yes, we're gonna continue this and do more, or do the 7th chapter of Higurashi, When They Cry, next time. Hopefully you join me as well. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye bye.